Kickin It with Coach Ruiz, brought to you by Baptist Health. Coach, how are we doing? Haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Yeah. We took a pause last week. We had a lot going on, a lot of events on campus, so a lot to cover. But we're doing well and getting ready for another weekend of games.
Conference play is rolling along. Dolphins coming off another impressive win over Stetson, 2-0 at home this time, completing the season sweep of the Hatters. A lot of impressive performances to talk about, but let's go right off the top with Correa and his two goals. Exciting effort for him, but I'm sure there was a lot more to it than just him scoring those goals. So talk to us about that, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was on the receiving end of being at the right place at the right time, but he was there were both goals that he scored were team collective goals. There were goals that we had the ball in our foot. We try to move the ball around and kind of get the defense tired out a little bit, stretch them out, and then exploit them whenever we felt the space was available. So both goals really came from good ball movement, good bit of a piece of skill for sure for each individual that requires that. But it wasn't a moment of brilliance, individual moment of brilliance. It was a collective goal, which is nice. And Correa is exactly that. He's a player that plays for the team. He's probably one of the most adaptable freshmen that I've seen in my experience here. Very talented young man for sure, but very adaptable in whatever role it's required of him. He's able to step in and perform at a really high level. So it's just great to see him get a recognition, get the 2 goals, but certainly in a way that he helped the team.
Yep, honors the ASUN Player of the Week for his efforts. The second of which for the Dolphins this season. The last one was Reed Davis for his performance against Stetson. You're getting scores from a lot of different guys. You're kind of spreading it around. And that's got to speak to that team creation of opportunity mentality you just spoke about, right?
Yeah, absolutely, right. That's what our team is built off of: energy and collective mentality. Excuse me. And there's gonna be days that an individual is gonna be able to do a little bit on his own and create a moment because we have talented players that can do that. But we can't depend on that. Right, we have to depend on the things that the team are willing to do together. They're willing to transfer the training habits onto the games, and that's what the last couple of games have been. And more than just the goals, Matt, we're creating chances, which is something that in our first couple of games of the season where we felt like we played well from a performance standpoint, but we were never really dangerous. If you go back to the week prior, even our defeat to Florida Gulf Coast, which is a very good team. Yeah, the result line, was in favor to them, but we felt like we were really dangerous in that game. Unfortunate not to come out with an extra goal, which changes the mood and the confidence of the game for sure. So we were happy to be able to put them away at a better rate against Stetson and get our third shutout of the season, our second one in conference, which is huge for our back line's confidence and for our goalkeeper Matt Levy. So a lot of positives from this weekend.
Yeah, speaking of Matt, another shutout for him and for the defense in general. That unit has been really a highlight for you guys this year as you've kind of moved pieces in and out, but they continue to stay dangerous on the defensive side. Jose comes out of that back line and is assisting goals. So can you just speak to that strength of that unit right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And in this past game, without giving too much away, we actually we added a new player into it. We have a defender, Neil Ringstrand, that is a freshman out of Sweden. That he's been deserving of an opportunity to play, but the other 2 center backs, in Habib and Zach, haven't been undeserving either. I think they've performed well. So we had an idea, and we had a good week of training. Said, how can we get those 3 guys in there? So we typically play in a 4-2-3-1, which requires 2 center backs and 2 outside backs. And in this game, we went with 3 center backs. We decided to play a 3-5-2, a 3-6-1. And we've added Neil into the middle of Habib and Zach, which gave us a little more confidence on the ball. We're able to spread the team out a little bit more and use Jose and Kyle and Cole and Sal, other players that we have out wide, and Jake, more as a true up and down wing backs. We thought it created some problems for Stetson. Obviously, they weren't prepared. Our upcoming opponent, UNF, they'll have video on that, so they'll be a little more prepared, which then we have to be a little more detailed in our work this week because we won't have the the surprise factor going into this weekend, as we felt like we did against Stetson.
When speak to a little bit the depth of your team that you're able to here now with 3 games left in the regular season to still be able to try things like that and feel comfortable doing it. There's a lot of teams around the country probably right now who are thinking, we better have an identity by now and we better be setting our lineup. But you guys, you have this depth that you're able to really move pieces in and out like that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think we're receiving the fruit of how our fall semester went. I think the fact that we got everybody here in the fall, everybody got to play. When you play the inter squad matches, everybody got to play. Typically, when you play a season, you have a handful of guys, about a third of your team, really aren't getting minutes and exposure. So the fact that we had a lot of players that were able to get solid, minutes in the inter squad and be that what it is. Now we're able to actually have a conversation with guys, being able to be adaptable. We talked about being technically flexible all the time, as if we want to manipulate our opponent. It doesn't change the way that we play, but we can certainly attack certain areas on the field and maybe manipulate our formation a little bit to create a challenge for the opposition. But the guys are taking on that information really well. I thought last week it is definitely sensitive when a coach starts the week with, "Hey, we're going to try a new formation." Right? You could send the wrong message that we don't believe in what we're doing, which was opposite of the case. We want to make sure that we had a plan B. We've been training and playing A this entire season, and we've been pretty good at it, certainly with areas of improvement. But what happens in the middle of the game that we want to change something, we don't like how we're doing, are we ready for a plan B? And in that time, we were not ready for a plan B. So we thought we had a good opportunity this week leading up to Stetson. We knew our opponent a little bit. It was a good time to do that. So we changed our formation. We trained well, and the guys got confidence in that. And it was great to get validation on the game. And guys were able to play, slightly a similar role, but with some different triggers to what they would typically do and what they have been doing.
As we're sitting here talking about depth, we've mentioned a lot of names. Are there any guys we haven't gotten to yet in this short conversation that you want to highlight the effort they've put forth so far?
Well, I think the position that we have a lot of depth in, and we just haven't had all of them healthy at the same time, which has made my job a little bit easier because it's been kind of just process of elimination based on whether there's a COVID reasons or injury reasons or sometimes just sickness. It's our midfield. And we have a combination of Jay Duncan Smith, a sophomore from Atlanta. We have Josh Correa, a freshman from Toronto. We have our captain senior in Connor Lufkin in that midfield as well. And we have Joshua Ruger-Wilson, which we mentioned before. I mean, the 4 of them occupy 2 positions for us. Now, Connor's a little more flexible. He can play some different roles, where the other 3 are really our nucleus of our 3 midfield there. And like I said, we haven't had all 4 available in every single game, but we haven't missed a beat. Regardless of what combination we have played, whether it's been, Josh and Connor or Josh Moreira and Connor, and this past weekend has been Josh, Jay Duncan Smith. I think the team has looked really good in that combination, which, once again, speaks to the depth of them. And Jay Duncan Smith is a kid that has grown a lot and is from his freshman year to this year. And it's just been unfortunate with some COVID-related issues that he just hasn't been able to perform consistently for us or been available for games. And I thought this weekend he had a really good weekend, and he showed just how good he can be and how good we can be with him on the field. But I think that depth in the midfield has been really special for us, and we felt comfortable with whoever was available, even though not all of them have been available the whole time.
Yeah, I like Jake's effort a lot this weekend. He's a never back down type of guy. He's gonna stay in it. He's gonna stay in your face. I like that.
Yeah, if he can, that's probably his biggest growth has been his emotional control. I mean, he plays on the edge, or I like to say he probably plays a little bit over the edge sometimes. And if he can play right on that fence and make sure that he uses it at the right time, I mean, I think he's developed tactically, he's developed physically, but his emotional control has been his biggest growth. And I think he continues to evolve in that arena. I mean, I think he's going to be a great player for us.
Yeah, exciting guy to watch. Coming down the stretch here, we talked about it. 2 with UNF, another game with FGCU. Preview what's coming up for us and kind of the mentality you've got to take coming down this home stretch here as we start to think conference tournament a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty fortunate situation here. Obviously, we have to take care of what's in front of us, and that's the most important game. But we do go to UNF to start the River City Rumble. I guess back to back. We play them this weekend at their place, but we get to come back and avenge Florida Gulf Coast here at home, and then finish the regular season with UNF here at home as well. So taking care of this next upcoming game, it's going to be huge for us. If we can get to UNF and guarantee a result there and come out of it, we'll be playing for first place when we get FGCU back next weekend here at Southern Oak. And that's a great position for us to be in. But we don't get to be in that position if we don't take care of what's ahead of us right now. So, all attention and focus is up to this Saturday at UNF. They're a good team. They haven't got the results that maybe they've deserved, similar to us early in the season. They're a good team. They're a dangerous team, and they get to play back at home. They've been playing at a local park because their stadium and their track have been going through some reconstruction. It's their senior night. They're back at home for the first time this season. They haven't got a conference win yet. They're playing against a local rival. I think they have a lot at stake, and we have to make sure that we're up for the battle, not just the soccer piece of it, but for the emotional piece that's going to bring as well. And I think if we can get up to that, and the guys that have done really well this week in training so far, I like our chance.
Yeah, in my world, on the media side, we always say throw out the records when you're playing a rivalry game. It doesn't matter where anyone's at in any sport. Those games just carry a different type of juice to them. Anything you want to hit us with on the way out here, Coach, when we wrap this one up?
No, I'm happy with where you are. And you mentioned, early, a lot of teams are trying to solidify their identity, where the team is. I'm just happy where the mood of the group is right now and how much they're enjoying being around one another and knowing that, what's done is done, good, bad, or indifferent. We have to focus on the next step. And we're in a really good position right now. We had some obstacles to overcome in non-conference play, which was really short. And now I think we're identifying who we are, not just a soccer brand philosophy standpoint, but in the compete environment, right? Like in that arena, how do we compete? What does that look like? And how do we look to get better all the time? So I think that's a really good place that the team is in right now. And going up to this weekend against a team that compete is going to matter. It's going to matter more than how talented we are versus how talented they are, or even their game day preparation. Yeah, those things matter for sure. But like you mentioned, UNF they'll be happy to lose. Not happy, but they'll be, if they lose every game this season, but they win this one game, right? Or they win the rivalry, it's something they can hold their hats upon. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. It's a Dennis Violet trophy. It's a Manchester United legend and one of the Busby babes that died in the airplane crash back in '58. Coached at UNF and at JU when he retired. He since passed, but it's a trophy. And then we have a Dennis Violet trophy sitting on the sideline. So it's an opportunity for our group to get our first trophy of the season, to lift our first trophy of the season, and get into the mindset of like, this is a championship game, this is a cup game, as you call it in soccer. So let's go out and get that. Let's go out and get that cup.
Exciting time, Coach, and we'll all be watching. So appreciate you joining us again here on Kicking It with Coach Ruiz, presented by Baptist Health. Coach, have a great one. We'll catch up again.
All the best.